Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to another video tutorial for biology. Well, before we start, let me just give a shout out to Teacher Alian Parol of Flora Ilagan High School. Teacher Alian, hello. Hi. I hope you're in good condition. Alright, so let's proceed now. We are going to talk about mutation. So, what is mutation? Mutation is a random change in an organism's DNA. Now, when we say random, it means nobody knows when it's gonna happen, or nobody knows what will be its sequence when it happens, and nobody knows why it happens, at least for referring to a specific reason why it happens, because there are lots of reasons why it may happen. Look at this. If you focus your attention on the green structure here and this section here, you will notice that after mutation, this is what results. Boom, boom, it's gone. This nitrogen base is gone. Reason? Mutation. So what is mutation then? It's a random change in an organism's DNA, the oxyribonucleic acid, the blueprint of life. Mutation can be inherited, meaning it can be transmitted to the offsprings of parents, or it can be caused by carcinogens. Carcinogens are cancer-causing agents in the environment, or any substance. It can be a food material, or it can be a chemical compound that can cause cancer. That's why it's called carcinogen. Next, change in the DNA. Many types of mutations can occur because there are different types of mutation. We will be dealing with it as we progress in this video lecture. Now it says here, mutations, many types of mutations can occur during replication. Replication means the DNA is making an exact copy of itself prior to the actual cell division. Well, going back, you would know that you may recall that there are two kinds of cell division. It can be mitosis or meiosis. Mitosis is something to do with the division of body cells or somatic cells, and meiosis refers to the division of sex cells or gametes, like the sperm cell and the egg cell. Most mutations are repaired by enzymes, and when enzymatic actions are successful in repairing mutations, these mutations would have no effect on the organism. But if not repaired, or if the repair process failed, then the altered or changed gene or chromosome will be passed on. It will be transmitted to the next generation. Right? Now if you look here, this statement means that there can be gene mutation or chromosomal mutation, meaning mutations may occur in the chromosome or in the gene. Alright, mutations are changes in DNA that may or may not affect phenotype. So what is phenotype? Phenotype refers to the observable characteristics like height, skin color, eye color, hair color, or any visible characteristic traits of an organism. That's phenotype. Look at this. This is the phenotype of this mice. This is a glow-in-the-dark mice. So what happened was geneticists inserted a bioluminescent compound in the DNA sequence of these mice, which caused it to glow in the dark. Right? So this is the phenotype, a green colored mice that glows in the dark. This is a product of mutation. Specifically, it's called induced mutation because there's human intervention. There are two forms of mutations. Number one, inheritable mutations. Inheritable mutations occur in the sex cells, and when it does, it affects the offsprings. The other one is non-inheritable mutations. It occurs in the somatic cells or body cells or autosomes, and when it does, they do not affect the offsprings. So let's try to compare the two. Mutations in body cells versus mutations in gametes or sex cells. Okay, again, body cells, somatic, gametes, sex cells. Okay, let's proceed. In somatic cells, daughter cells are affected. When you say cell division involving somatic or body cells, it's called mitosis. DNA is affected but not the offspring of the organism. Body cell mutations contribute to aging or the development of cancer. But if it's sex cell or gamete mutation, the altered DNA will be transmitted to the embryo or the developing organism in the uterus and may be passed on from generation to generation. What will it cause? It can cause genetic disorders. We'll be talking about some genetic disorders resulting from somatic and sex cell mutations. Look at this. If the mutation affects a gene, it's called gene mutation or gene mutation. If the mutation affects a chromosome, it's called chromosomal mutation. Okay, this is a chart that shows us the estimated percentage of cancer cases caused by identifiable or potentially preventable factors. If you look at the distribution of percentage values, tobacco occupies the largest chunk in the pie. Is 33%, followed by excess weight and obesity. Now it was mentioned here that these are preventable factors, so these are lifestyle related activities. So most of these. Then if you look at the bottom part here, you'll notice 11% of cancer cases are attributable to unknown causes. Unknown means scientists or medical experts are still trying to find out what specific substance or maybe an organism caused the cancer. This one is based on the American Association for Cancer Research 2012. Okay, let's review. Try to answer this. I'll be asking you this question in the actual class. Mutations that occur in sex cells, body cells, or any cell can be passed down to offspring. Look at the hints. Alright, let's see. Where did you get your genes? That's hint number 1. Hint number 2. You were once a zygote. So where did zygote you get genes from? And number 3. Came out. It was not supposed to come out that quick, but anyway, What are the only cells that actually came from your parents to make you? The answer is sex cells. So mutations that occur in sex cells can be passed down to offspring. So don't forget, sex cells refer to gametes, egg cells or sperm cells. So what can mutations do? How do they affect us? Genes or chromosomes? Let's find out. Mutations can be positive or helpful. Okay, to proceed, some mutations can provide an advantage which helps the organism survive. Advantage has something to do with the beneficial effect of mutations to organisms. Of course, when we say survival of the organism, it may refer to a change in the structure that would allow the organism to live or to blend with the environment, allowing it to survive. Look at this. We have a case of two different birds here. One has a short beak, the other one has a long and pointed beak. Of course, this one would have difficulty getting this because the pink worm managed to hide inside the hole in the wood or in the trunk. But if you look at the pecker, the woodpecker was able to get the purple worm because of a mutated trait. So this one is better suited to the environment. This one will survive. Unlike this, if this is the only food source, this will eventually starve to death. That's how it works. Let's proceed. Mutations can be neutral, not harmful, not helpful. How does it work? Some mutations do not affect the organism's survival. Mutations happen, mutations occur, but they do not affect the organism's survival. Look at this. We have 4 parrots here, colored green, but the shades of green differs. Look at this. Of course, these are normal dark green feathers, 1, 2, and 3. But this one is a bright green feather mutation. But this bright green feather is not harmful nor helpful in this parrot. That's why it's called neutral. Another one. Some mutations do not affect. If you're going to count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, same number, 5. It's the same with you. But this one is fused. It's not separated, but it doesn't affect the organism's survival. Okay, you can still walk with no difficulty. The phenotype is affected, but in terms of survival, it's neither helpful nor harmful. Okay, this condition is known as syndactyly. Mutations can be negative or harmful. Of course, when you say harmful or negative mutation, it can hurt the organism's chances for survival. So if you notice, mutations are correlated or related to or connected to the survival of the organism. Of course, when you say harmful or negative, well, at worst, the organisms die. Okay, look at this two-headed snake. This is an example of a negative mutation. Why? Let's go back to the two-headed snake. According to scientists or snake experts, one of the disadvantages of a two-headed snake is that these two heads would compete for food. Because as we know, snakes have great smell, or they have this great ability to smell food materials. So if this head happens to get the food and this other head smells the scent of the food, this head would try to swallow this other head. Of course, it's bad because they may both die. Another disadvantage would be they would have difficulty deciding where to go as to direction. This head decides to go this way, and this head decides to go this way. They would have difficulty navigating, or let's say for example if they're trying to escape a predator, that would really hinder their chances of survival. Okay, this one is a red blood cell. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 red blood cells here. These are normal red blood cells, donut shape, if you notice. This one is a sickle cell shaped red blood cell, or RBC. Look, normal. Mutated blood cell, person suffering from anemia. So what would be its effect? It's as simple as red blood cells carry oxygen. Because red blood cells are red because of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is where oxygen attaches to. So when the red blood cells move, they carry with themselves oxygen. In short, this one has fewer oxygens, and if you have fewer oxygens, the body receives fewer oxygens as well. Alright, it's as simple as that. Alright, to summarize, some mutations can be helpful. In this case, some mutations can have no effect or neutral, like in this case. And some mutations can be harmful, just like a two-headed snake, because it affects their survival. Right? What about this? Which bird would have the best chances of survival in a forest where all the leaves are blue? Is it the green parrots or the blue parrot? Of course, it's the blue parrot. Why? Because number one, if there's a hunter or a shooter, he or she cannot see this right away because it blends with the environment easily, unlike the other four. So this one has a higher rate of survival. Okay, so before we proceed, let's try to read this. Some mutations cause useful traits. Useful means beneficial traits that allow the organisms to survive. Organisms with the useful traits have a higher chance of reproducing. So reproduction is connected to survival. So if you're able to reproduce, if an organism is able to reproduce, it can perpetuate its own species, meaning it will continue to live. Alright? And reproducing means, being able to reproduce means you are able to transmit or transfer the genetic traits to the next generation, which means they are better adapted. Adapted means they have a better way to live and survive and reproduce in the environment where they live. After a long period of time, most members of the species will have this new useful trait that started out as a random mutation. So if you notice, mutation first, but eventually it becomes a natural trait. Long period of time here means thousands or even millions of years. Okay, let's now proceed to gene mutation examples. One is point mutation. What is point mutation? Substitution of one nucleotide for another. You may recall that a nucleotide consists of phosphate molecule, deoxyribose sugar, and nitrogen bases. Example of disorders that results from gene mutation are Tay-Sachs disease and sickle cell disease or sickle cell anemia. Okay, look at this. This is the DNA sequence. This is the RNA sequence. These are the amino acids that are produced as a result of protein synthesis. Alright? Now focus your attention here on the second amino acid. Now, by the way, this represents leucine. This one is glutamic acid. This is serine, and this is aspartic acid. Alright? Now, again, focus your attention on glutamic acid. This is a normal gene, normal DNA. This is the DNA sequence that suffered point mutation. If you notice, there are three sequence. There's a sequence, by the way, there's a sequence of 3 nucleotides. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Each sequence represents 1 amino acid. Okay? Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. So, when you combine all these amino acids, you come up with a protein. Again, let's go back here. So, glutamic acid is represented by GAG. Now, this sequence of 3 nucleotides is what we call codon. It's a codon, right? Codon. Look here. This mutated. Adenine in the DNA sequence mutated. So, since it mutated, it produced a different amino acid. This is glutamic acid, but after point mutation, the amino acid that was produced is aspartic acid, not glutamic acid. This is point mutation. This is the exact point where mutation has occurred. That's why it's called point mutation. Substitution of one nucleotide for another nucleotide. Alright? Let's proceed. The second one is frameshift mutation. Frameshift mutation can either be insertion or deletion. Okay? Insertion of nucleotide in the DNA sequence or deletion of nucleotide sequence in the DNA. Okay, this is a normal DNA sequence. This is a frameshift mutation sequence, but in this case, this is deletion. Let's see. This is serine and this is isoleucine. That's ILE. Okay, focus your attention here. This is A and G. Okay, let's go here. This is AGG. That's the original DNA sequence. AGG. Alright? This one is A and G. What happened to the other guanine base? It was removed. It got deleted. That's why it's known as deletion. Deletion is an example of a frameshift mutation. Okay? Now, if you look at the RNA sequence, it's actually the same. Right? But the DNA sequence was the problematic one because one got deleted. So if you notice, if the DNA sequence is affected, the type of amino acid produced is going to be different. Alright? Let's proceed. Let's go to chromosomal mutations now. This is an example of a chromosomal mutation known as duplication mutation. What is that? Chromosomal mutations may occur during crossing over. Unequal crossing over. When you say crossing over, it happens during meiosis. or cell division that involves egg cell or sperm cell. Crossing over results in the genetic swapping or shuffling of genetic traits during meiosis. So look at this DNA, look at this chromosome, and focus your attention here. What happened? This is actually a shorter chromosome than this one, but since this section was duplicated in this chromosome became longer. Now, is it good or bad? Of course, it has negative effects. A section of DNA is duplicated. This is known as duplication mutation. Alright, what about this one? This one is translocation. Results from the exchange of DNA segments between non-homologous chromosomes. Non-homologous chromosomes means they do not appear the same, or, well, in other words, the similar appearance. Because homologous chromosome means they look similar. So non-homologous means the appearance is not the same. Just like this one is longer than this. This is chromosome number 4. This is chromosome number 20. Before translocation, this is their original and normal appearance. After translocation, see what happened. This section was translocated here, and this section was translocated here, and that is why if you look at the derivative chromosome number 4, derivative is the resulting chromosome. Okay, if you look at the derivative chromosome number 4, since this section was translocated to chromosome number 20, chromosome number 4 became shorter, okay, and chromosome number 20 became longer than its normal appearance. That's translocation. Now, of course, this section of the chromosome contains lots of genetic traits. So this will definitely have an effect on the offspring, because this occurs during meiosis. Alright, let's try this. Of course, I will be asking you about this during the actual class. So let's review. What kind of chromosomal mutation occurred? A, B, C, D, E, F became A, C, D, E, F. Make your guess. Take your guess. It's deletion. What was deleted? B. What about this? A, B, C, D, E, F, A, B, B, C, D, E, F. This is duplication. What was duplicated? B was duplicated. What about this? So if you notice, there's crossing over here. D, E, F, A, B, C became A, E, D, A, E, D, and C, B, F. C, B, F. This is an example of inversion. So inverted, instead of A, B, C, it became A, E, D. Okay? What about this? A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Okay. Look at it. Study it before making your guess, or making a guess. It's translocation. So the other one was translocated. Okay, let's talk about non-disjunction. What is non-disjunction? Non-disjunction occurs during meiosis, causes gametes to lack a chromosome or have an extra chromosome. So non-disjunction results in additional chromosome or the removal of a chromosome. An example, an egg may have 22 or 24 chromosomes. If a zygote only has 45 chromosomes, then one pair has only one chromosome. Okay? If a zygote has 47 chromosomes, then there are 3 copies of one chromosome. This is a case known as trisomy. This one is known as monosomy. These are example disorders resulting from non-disjunction. Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, and Turner syndrome. Okay. This is a karyotype. This one. It's kind of like a picture of human chromosomes. It's karyotype. This is Turner syndrome. This is Klinefelter syndrome, and this is Down syndrome. Okay, let's look at Turner syndrome first. Look at this highlighted portion of the karyotype. The 23rd chromosome represents the sex chromosomes. So, of course, there are only 2. It can either be XY and XX. But if you look at this, there's only 1 chromosome instead of 2. It's only X. So either X or Y was missing. That's non-disjunction, resulting in the removal or lack of a chromosome. This one is Klinefelter syndrome. If you look at the number 47. Humans have 46 chromosomes only, not 47, not 48, not 45. So if you look at this, this is XXY. So what would be the gender? Is it a male or a female? Males have XY chromosomes and females have XX. So it can either be a female with a Klinefelter syndrome or a male with an extra X chromosome. Okay, let's try to find out what was affected. This is the one that was affected. If you look at the 23rd chromosome pair, there are 2 X's and 1 Y chromosome. So this is the extra chromosome. That's why it became 47 instead of 46. Non-disjunction. Now, as example here, chromosome number 21 is involved. Can you count the number of chromosome number 21? There are 1, 2, and 3 chromosomes in 21. This is the extra chromosome in chromosome number 21. There should only be 2 chromosomes, but in this case, there are 3. That's why this is a case of trisomy. Okay? This one is a case of monosomy. There. Mutations can be caused by several factors. What are these? Replication errors. Mutagens. Mutagens mean mutation causing substances like UV rays or ultraviolet rays, and chemicals, carcinogens, cancer causing chemicals. Both of them can cause mutation. Some cancer drugs use mutagenic properties to kill cancer cells. Mutations in body cells do not affect offsprings. Mutations in sex cells can be harmful or beneficial to offsprings. Beneficial mutations may be useful to organisms in changing environments. These mutations may be favored by natural selection. This is the natural phenotype of a giraffe. So these characteristic traits of giraffes have allowed them to survive in the wilderness. Is this beneficial or harmful? By the way, when you say natural selection, nature selects. Environmental changes may result in the extinction of organisms, especially those who were not able to adapt to the changing environments. Alright, let's review. Random changes in the DNA of an organism is known as. Which of the following can a mutation cause? Okay, number 3. Mutations can cause really noticeable changes in organisms. True or false? Number 4. Mutations can be beneficial, harmful, no effect, all of the above. Number 5. What are some external causes of mutations? Alright. And number 6. Variation in a species is caused by what two things? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay. So that's it. I hope you learn a lot from today's video tutorial about mutation, and thank you for watching this video. And if you like this video, please share this video to other high school students who might benefit from this video lecture. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Once again, this is Curious Kamote. You have a nice day. Bye. 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 Bye.